Hello. It would help if I added myself to the stream, wouldn't it? Yeah. Welcome to the SmackDown Watch Along on the Gimme podcast. I'm Sam. I should be joined by Andy in a little while as SmackDown just gets going. A lot of exciting stuff happening tonight. The return of Roman Reigns for the 50th time. But let's be honest, we're all excited to see him as ever. Let's have a little intro from a guy we hope makes a full recovery and comes back very soon.
This is Big E from the new day. Give me that whole yeah. Give it to me. I need it.
Thanks, E. I need it too tonight, so that should be good. I've had a skinful of beer tonight round my brother and sister-in-laws. I've got a load of caffeinated drinks to get through, so we should do this. And 2 nice days off. I'm just going to bring in my guest. I say guest. It's silly to call him a guest, isn't it, these days? And Andy's, I suppose, a host in his own right, especially when it comes to SmackDown. So I'm going to bring in the immortal Andy Spores. Here he is. Boom! There you are. Look at that face. And you've got your beard tonight as well, so you're looking rugged for everyone in the audience. Where I'm his baby face and a little bit red as usual. Right, let's get going. Who have we got in? First of all, we've got Huang saying, I love saying your name, by the way, Huang. Read into that what you will. It's just a cool name to say. Michael, hello, mate. How are you? I very much hope you ask me the question tonight, Michael, and I will give you the usual half answer I always give you, but it'll be a good one this week. Hello, Danny. Nice to see you. Nice eyeballs you got there. Jeepers Creepers. Where'd you get those peepers? Oh, yeah. Sorry, Misfit. I didn't. When you were texting me before, I was just getting stupidly drunk. So apologies if I wasn't full on compos mentis. I'm a bit better now. I've had caffeine and done a stream with Andy, so the sobering thing. Catriana, how you doing? Michael also saying hi to Andy. So, Andy, what are you thinking about SmackDown tonight? Before we'll get into Michael's question in a moment. Are you excited for the return of the Tribal Chief for the 50th time?
Yeah. Yeah. It's one of those things that he's been back so many times. It's difficult to see how he still gets like the pop for returning, but yeah, he still does. So it's cool. It's we're going to get some more drama hopefully tonight after last week's shenanigans with Jay and Gimme. So it'll be interesting to see where it goes next. So yeah, I am excited. I don't know too much about the rest of the card either, which is a bit of a surprise these days. They seem to kind of tell you all the matches ahead of time. So
yeah, well, I've got a few written down like here. Like Dan likes to talk about that. Give a bit of a rundown of the card when he does these streams, but he's way more of a professional than me. But I don't know. I kind of like I've seen it, but I've already forgotten. Like all I know is eerie is big man's here. But I'm. I kind of like just going with the flow, and we always seem to get shortchanged when WWE tell us what's coming because they always try and pull the rug under us a bit. So right, let's just hit some of these comments. So Michael is saying, "What games have you been playing?" Well, as of today, Michael, I'm not going to tell you which game it is. I did this exact same bit on Andy's podcast earlier. I can't say what game it is, but I've been playing a wrestling game this evening. And I will likely be playing that wrestling game for the next 2 weeks. I won't be reviewing it. My colleague Brad will be reviewing it for Deserto. But I'll be helping, because I'm one of Deserto's resident wrestling guys, I will be playing said wrestling game and doing some guides and backing up the team with content. So I've been fortunate enough to get a press copy of a certain game, like I often do, because it's my job. But so there's nothing special about me. I couldn't possibly say, Michael, what the name of the game is. But
will you be sports entertaining for an undetermined amount of time?
Well, I think the original idea behind the people who made this game, or at least the people who commissioned it, were going to go for a more sports-based presentation with stats and such, but that kind of fell off a cliff after about 3 weeks. So, but yes, it's they don't like the term sports entertainment. They actually deliberately use that term to take the piss, unlike the other place who use it with a straight face. But yes, it has an element of that. And blimey, Pretty Deadly have their nipples out if anyone's into it. There they are, nipples and all. What else are people saying? Let's have a little look here. Danny is saying, who's winning Money in the Bank? And why is it Logan Paul? It better not be. But I'd still pop for it. I probably would. Misfit actually speaks the truth. I did send in feet pics today. Inadvertently. But we won't go any further than that because we don't want to get into trouble or anything. But Misfit did receive pictures of my feet today, twice. Catriana saying it's time for WrestleMania 40. I sincerely hope not, Catriana, because Andy, you should be on the plane if that's the case.
Yeah, true.
Probably funny. Actually, no, by now you should be in your seat ready to go. Brandon saying Michin beats Scarlett. I think that's a given, isn't it? Because she can go, though, Scarlett Bordeaux. She can go. But they're using her as more of a gorgeous herald, aren't they, in WWE at the moment? IYO versus Zelina happening tonight. Now, that's something I can get on board with. I think both of them are excellent. And I'm loving how Zelina's being given... we're taking Zelina seriously at the moment. And IYO is just brilliant on any day. We're also getting Tag Gauntlet, winner faces Sami and Kevin Owens for the titles. Bring that on. Right now, we're seeing the Street Profits versus the Brawling Brutes, or at least it's who is it there, Andy? Is it Sheamus and Ridge?
Montez, yeah.
He's in the ring with Montez, and he's about he's winning by the looks of things.
Oh, sorry, did you mean as in Sheamus and?
Oh yeah, don't worry. It's what you said is right too, and there's Pretty Deadly's nipples once again. The Good Brothers. I thought that was the Usos then, but it's Legado del Fantasma, who are not Legado del Fantasma anymore, are they? They are now just the LWO. Is that right?
I believe so. They are still Legado del Fantasma as part of LWO. It's all a bit confusing.
Yeah, I think LWO is a bit more marketable, isn't it? So they'll probably end up going with that.
Yeah.
I told you, Andy, I'd have a fan next time you saw me. I have a fan.
You've always got a fan.
I've got lots of fans.
He's on the stream with you.
Yeah. Ooh, you mean Misfit or Catriana or...
So you have many fans.
Yeah, well, I think I have just Michael. I think the rest of you can take me or leave me. Flipping Huang came on last week and went, where's Dan? I'm like, well, Dan is usually surrounded by red while I'm surrounded by blue. That's the giveaway, but it's okay. Fight forever. I have no idea what that could relate to, Michael. Game over Karrion Kross. Oh, come on. Leave Karrion Kross alone. Leave him alone.
I thought you did the Simpsons thing where he's like, leave him alone. He's already dead.
I was doing the, I was doing the Leave Britney Alone, if you remember that from 20 years ago. Yeah. Leave her alone. I was doing that because that tickled me for a while. Hassan, yes, sorry, mate. I will get you a vote in a memento. Give me a moment. Quickly, Misfit saying thoughts on the AW Collision commentary team. Just remind us who it is, Misfit. I have seen the news tonight. Am I right in thinking? Remind me who it is because I know it's exciting. Whoever it is, it's not the usual, is it? It's Nigel McGuinness. I know that much. And JR. Oh, the yawns start. 1 a.m., 2 hours to go, and the yawns start. Misfit is saying Tag Gauntlet will take up most of the show. I'm all right with that. WWE has done tag team wrestling dirty for the past few years, and we seem to be coming out the back end of that now. What do you think about that, Andy? While I do the vote for Hassan and everybody else.
Yeah, they normally have. Well, we say it's going to go on a while, and we've just had the Street Profits eliminated very quickly, so maybe it will go quite long, or maybe it's going to be one of these ones where they kind of blast through it. But generally, when they have these gauntlet matches, they try and make one of them be a sort of almost Iron Man. We've seen it in the past where Seth's got an hour.
Yeah, amazing. So
it is possible that they can have this take up even half the show, and it wouldn't be a massive shock. But yeah, I guess we've got a couple of other matches that, as you've said in the comments, to get through tonight, but I can't imagine the mixed tag match going too long, which, you know, and then they'll focus on Roman for the last 20 minutes or so.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you've nailed it there. FA Disability Cup. That should be pretty cool to watch on TNT Sports there. I just saw a cracking goal by a lad on a little like electric wheelchair. He nailed it. He did better than I could ever do. That was amazing. But I'll just, Hassan, I won't be able to put your name on the vote, mate, because the issue we've got with this gauntlet match is there's probably like more teams than we can actually fit on a YouTube vote. But I'll have a crack.
So you take Street Profits off already?
Yeah, well, they're done, aren't they? That didn't last long. # buried. So start a poll. So who wins? The usual. Who wins? I don't have to sing everything.
Also, so I know people can obviously vote on it, but let us know in the comments who you think is going to win this.
Yes, please. Yeah.
Let us know why you think, because there's a couple of teams that could win it, I guess, feasibly, and there's a couple of teams who probably don't have a chance, or at least one in terms of hit row, I would say.
So who's? Sorry, Andy, to interrupt. So who's in this tag team? Could you run me down a list of who's in it while I'm?
So currently, it's the OC are in the ring with the Brawling Brutes, and then I believe that leaves Pretty Deadly, LWO, and Hit Row as the teams left over.
Oh, I'm going to leave out Hit Row because I think they're going to get buried. So LWO, Brawling Brutes, the OC, and Pretty Deadly are the teams I'm going with. And I am, Jesus, yawning, and out of options, out of field. So we're going to have to go with those four, I'm afraid, guys. So Hassan, get your vote in there, mate. And I'm afraid you can't vote for yourself because you're not on it. I'm sorry, dude.
So if you think top dollar's going to win, then just put it in the comment.
Right,
I can't wait till he gets in, and Michael Cole can crack on with his comments.
Is it me? Or has Michael Cole been a little bit more alive since Trips took over and a little bit dead since WWE Vince came back? So you were having fun without me, were you, Maggle? Oh, no, that's... what's his name, innit? What's the JBL who calls him Maggle? Right. What we got here? We've got some comments that I'd ignored. So Hassan's got his vote. Misfit, you're saying Kevin Kelly, Nigel McGuinness, and JR. Love that. Although... Look, I love Kevin Kelly. I think he's one of the best in the business. Nigel McGuinness is just great. I've been a fan of his since, like the UK indie scene, actually, to a point, really, like before Ring of Honor. JR, though, I sometimes hear JR say stuff and cringe these days. I don't know if that's just me. Like, I don't know if I'm alone there, but I do hear him say stuff and I'm like, not that he's saying anything wrong. It's just, he's not what he was. Like he and what's he called? JR, are the voice of the Attitude Era, and I don't think either of them are any good on commentary anymore. Yeah, Lawler.
Actually, I think Jerry Lawless, like when he does commentary or he's on the panels, he's actually still pretty well informed.
Yeah,
but I think with JR, he just seems to take a sort of passing interest in the sense of it's not a passion anymore, and it kind of tells. You can hear it in his voice that it's not like his everything, which is fine. That's not a problem.
Yeah.
But it doesn't. As you say, I think when you've had or been one of the best voices in wrestling on the commentary table, it's very difficult to kind of live up to that again once the kind of flame's gone out. So yeah, strange.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Kevin Kelly confirmed he won't be available for Collision during the G1, which is a fair few weeks, if I remember. I'd look forward to the G1. I don't know I'm going to be too bloody busy this year to watch it with so much to flipping do at work, but that's okay. But I am a big fan of the G1. Although, do you know what I'm not a fan of, Andy? I'm not a fan of New Japan World. I just think it's always crap quality. Like, you can pirate it, and it's better quality when you pirate it than it is when you pay for it and get it properly. It's Dom and I had a subscription to it that we were sharing, and use it for streams and all sorts. But we gave it was only a couple of quid, but we gave up on it because it just wasn't it just wasn't good quality. And we did a stream of what was that one where Jay White got taken out by Fit Finlay, not Fit Finlay, the other Finlay, Baby Finlay, the new Bullet Club leader. Why is it shouting? Yeah, no, it wasn't. Was it? No, it was the one after Wrestle Kingdom. It was a smaller scale show, but it was a big deal because it was one of the big American shows that New Japan do, like part of the Strong brand. And
Right.
I don't know if you watched that stream, but it was like Dom and I we did an all-nighter to watch that. All four of us kind of came in at different points. But for like 40 minutes, it was just like a melting screen. It was like too slow to start. It was actually hilarious because Dom and I were doing a stream while bitching about it on Twitter. It was actually quite funny. But I remember thinking, my God, this is a disaster. Like, New Japan, you need to sort your stuff out. Because your matches are great. It just sucks about your streaming.
Which is weird because when you think of Japan, you think of like cutting edge technology. So you'd think their streaming platforms and production values would be pretty high.
Well, yeah, you'd think so. Like, and it is. Like, if you were to somehow get your hands on, say, another recording of it through some other website, it look fine. But if you go straight to the source, it just looks crap. It doesn't matter what you watch it on as well. You watch it on your TV, it looks even worse than it does on your computer or your iPad. But anyway, so yeah, we didn't bother. So now I suppose the only way we can watch New Japan stuff is if we do it on the sly. But we're happy to pay for it and watch it legitimately. That's what we want to do. That's what we do for all these things: the Ring of Honor, WWE Network, Fight TV, everything. But I think they need, if they're going to take on our money, they're going to need to meet us in the middle, aren't they, really? So Michael is saying he voted for Pretty Deadly. I think you might be on to
Anyone who
something.
voted for the OCs out, put that way.
Yeah.
Sheamus with a bro kick got rid of the OC.
I'm surprised they were doing it. Are the OC still allowed to go and do indies or whatever? Because they've been everywhere in the past 12 months, the OC. New Japan, Impact, back in WWE. They've had an absolute world tour of wrestling companies.
Yeah, I think they're not exclusively WWE now, but they've got a contract rule apparently, or a clause in their contract which says if they have nothing for them, they're allowed to just stay home rather than go to the actual show, which is quite clever.
Yeah, I know they had a bit of a deal with New Japan where they could kind of talent share for a little while because Anderson was holding a belt, wasn't he?
Yeah.
But I think that's probably passed now. But it's good that these little things are how these doors open. So I think Vince being back, though, I think a lot of those doors have been slammed shut again. Ian Riccaboni will probably fill in for him. That suits me. I love Riccaboni. He's one of my favourite commentators. I think he's just so good at what he does, and he's so likable as well. I think he'd be a great guy to go for a pint with, Riccaboni. I see Pretty Deadly look like twins.
Oh wow! I've got to say that they've just buried Hit Row instantly.
Yeah, well, we knew that, didn't we? Like, but what have they done? Who have they annoyed? Like, whose wife have one of Hit Row slept with? Like, what is this all because they fell foul of what's he called? Flipping, who's the guy who's like a dictator over the camera?
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Thingy Dunn, isn't it?
Pete Dunne, not Pete Dunne. Flipping
Kevin
Kevin Dunn. Yeah, I don't want to do the Jim Cornette impression of him, but it is funny. It does crack me up. I don't want to be mean.
Is that Mr. 1,000 cuts a second?
Yeah. Oh, adverts. God, these guys are looking old. Right. So Misfit is saying, I think Pretty Deadly are winning this. And it'll be Pretty Deadly versus in the UK. Yeah, I think because the UK crowd aren't going to cheer Pretty Deadly like they were.
I don't know.
No, some of them will. But we're talking about Sami Zayn at the moment. Sami Zania is still going on. It's not as pronounced as it was. But I just want to see Pretty Deadly get beaten up. And I think Kevin Owens is going to kill them both. I think they need to be showcased in the UK. I think that makes a lot of sense. But I think the baby faces are winning that 100%. Like they're not going to have Pretty Deadly go over Sami and Kevin. Surely not. It's not.
Well, I think it'll be interesting if they make it onto Money in the Bank or not, as in the actual card, because so far, what have we got? The 2 Money in the Bank matches. We've got the heavyweight championship match. We've got Cody versus Dominic. So we're probably looking at only 1 or 2 more matches being added, and one of those has got to be including Roman Reigns. So I wonder if they're just going to stack the SmackDown the night before, because we're already going to get Charlotte versus Asuka on that SmackDown.
Yeah.
So they could just have it as a sort of championship SmackDown edition. So it'd be interesting to see which show it goes on.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Are you speaking of the Dominic Mysterio versus Cody? Are you excited by that? Because I'm a bit underwhelmed. I think both are great, but I feel like they've both been a bit thrown together. I would have liked. Who knows? Maybe Brock will come out and kill Dom and then go after Cody. That might be interesting.
Yeah, presumably we're going to see Brock. But I guess from the perspective of when you're booking a show, you can put together a top babyface and a top heel, and like the reactions that Dom's getting are making him a top heel, whether you agree with it or not. And quite frankly, the way I see it going down is that they're in the match, Brock will probably come out and will cost Cody, which means Dominic can have one of those wins where he can lord it over the crowd for the next however long, saying, I beat Cody Rhodes, and give him that sort of like string to his bow. So it's quite clever in that respect. And Cody's not going to look weak if Brock, F5s him and leaves Dominic just to pick it up. So I'm not mad at it. It's just a bit of a weird one, isn't it? I think, as I've said on here before, and I've said on my streams, I think that what they're doing with Cody is they're just keeping him busy until eventually he gets back to being on course with Roman. Next Mania. It certainly feels that way anyway. But I think as soon as he lost at Mania, it was obvious that's what they're going to do. They need a couple of long or prolonged feuds. So Brock's probably going to go on for 3 pay-per-views with one in between where they're not fighting. They'll probably stick him in another one after that as well. So yeah, I can see it rolling on for a little bit longer. But I'm not mad. I'll enjoy it. I'll enjoy people singing along to Cody's song, and I'll enjoy people booing Dominic Mysterio.
Can we just stress now? Dom's not here, by the way, folks. I want to say this for the world to hear, because an entire busload of people at WrestleMania disagreed with me about this, despite it being demonstrably false. Is the words Cody Rhodes are never once said in Cody Rhodes' theme song. I'm getting out. It's actually like. I feel like people are shouting, it's raining at me. Like, it's not raining at me while it's raining. You know what I mean? It's like, I feel like I'm having a conversation with Boris Johnson or Donald Trump that they're telling me to ignore reality while reality is right in front of my eyes. I know Dom does it to wind me up at this point, but everybody else is like, no. They do say Cody Rhodes in that song. No, that song exists, wasn't written for Cody. It's just a downstate song. Now, they do a lot of songs for wrestlers, to be fair. They do the business theme too. But I
thought that song was written for Cody Rhodes.
Oh, was it really? I know it mentions fathers and legacies and stuff like that, but I always figured, because it's on one of their albums, it's just like a downstate song that Cody's resonated.
The lyrics in the song are my father said, and then it goes into about hard times breed better men.
Well, there you go. Then maybe it was.
I think it definitely is, because also I never realized that if you listen to Cody Rhodes' dashing theme or not dashing or whatever it was, and even they always have a whoa in it, and it's just taken from there and put into each of his songs.
Fair enough then. I stand corrected on that point, but I remember thinking they're all getting the lyrics wrong on the bus at Mania, and I'm there singing the actual song, and then they're all going Cody, Cody, Cody Rhodes. I'm like, that isn't what it is. It's like when you hear your mum and your dad singing along to one of the bands you like, and they're absolutely butchering the lyrics. It's like, will you stop singing that song? I love who sings that song? Oh, that's Oasis, dear. Yeah, let's keep it that way.
Yeah.
You're right, Michael. Sheamus does look a little bit beaten up, doesn't he? Unlike Pretty Deadly's nipples, which are still going strong. And the LWO are out, which is I actually thought it'd come down to LWO and Pretty Deadly, so I'm surprised it's Brawling Brutes are still going. But they're trying to make them look hard because of the UK, aren't they? I was going to say, because Sheamus isn't from the UK, but Ridge and Butch are. But again, the Irish are practically adopted, aren't they, when in UK shows? Like Sheamus, even in Clash at the Castle, despite it being in Wales, it was still, and Wales is part of the UK, unlike Ireland. Southern Ireland, obviously Northern Ireland is part of the UK. But he still would, we do adopt the Irish for these shows, like Finn, Becky Lynch, Sheamus. They're they're still part of the same club in that sense. It's not just a European thing either. Maybe it's a Celtic and Anglo-Saxon thing. I'm not so sure. Oh, and he's in. Bang.
Yeah, I think it was always going to come down to these two, really. Like, because especially with they're trying to Pretty Deadly. They're trying to make them into kind of opportunistic heels that are there just to kind of like pick up the team that's the most tired. So probably, I thought maybe it might have come down between these and Street Profits personally, but
yeah,
Sheamus seems to be one of the most popular he's ever been in his career, to be honest, since Clash.
Yeah, Clash, and again, like you and I were in the building at Clash, and like you can defo get it by watching it, but you had to be in the building that night, didn't you, to feel whatever that was. It was something really weird happened in the building, something very nice, very special. But I remember when we were on the train going back to our Airbnb after Clash at the Castle, me and my wife were saying, well, we enjoyed the main event. Like it really got her into it. The main event, every false finish, she was like, oh, proper got her into it. But the match we both remembered was Gunther Sheamus. Like just Sheamus turning face in the middle of the match. Had flakes of Stone Cold versus Bret Hart a little bit, because he came out as a heel. He went back in as a babyface. I know they booked him to be the face in that match. They booked him to fight as a plucky underdog. But I don't think they were quite expecting it to resonate with the crowd like it did.
Yeah, it was. I find it strange because I don't think Sheamus has ever been like truly over with the crowd. But since then, he's had like a few matches where they do that pull away shot where the crowd is going mental for him. So he's definitely hit a, as we said earlier with Finn Balor, it's a sort of like renaissance for Sheamus.
Yeah, and it's nice in a way how like even though like Becky, Finn, and Sheamus aren't technically from the UK, that they do get almost counted. It must be it's the geography, isn't it? I suppose it's just a hard border in the Irish Sea that separates us from the EU these days.
Would you support someone to be a champion if they were from France?
I suppose I would. You know me, I'm a massive fan of I don't know if we've ever discussed this before, but I'm a big, as a guy from Greek stock, I'm a big fan of the EU and the unification of Europe, and I consider myself a European first and British second and English third. So I'm a massive big fan of Gunther because he's only from over the water and then a couple of things across. But I think the geography of Sheamus means more. Like me and Jess are big fans of Finn Balor, not because he's Irish or anything, just we like him. But I do kind of, I think as far as America's concerned, that the rest of the world is concerned, it might as well be the UK in many ways. I know that any Irish people listening might not like that, but we do consider you brothers in arms, guys. That's probably the wrong term to use, isn't it? Christ. But you know what I mean. There's a lot of love, isn't there? Despite difficulties in history and stuff.
So Sam, what was the result of the vote there?
Let's have a little look. Thank you for that save there.
Let's get off of the Irish English history.
Oh, it's all our fault, not theirs. It's all us. At least let's stop. Yeah, Pretty Deadly won by 38%. So yeah, well done, Pretty Deadly. Yeah, I think you guys got that right for sure. Sami KO versus Pretty Deadly the day before Money in the Bank.
Yes, that SmackDown's already got a couple of decent matches on it.
Yeah, I'm going to be at SmackDown. I've did you get the joint tickets? Yeah, so you'll be there too. Good. So because I wasn't that bothered about SmackDown, I only got it because it just made sense to do it. But Yeah, because it's at least I don't have to sit through the Hall of Fame this time. Blimey. Did you watch the whole? You were there, weren't you? Watched the Hall of Fame as well, didn't you?
Yeah.
God, it's. I think I prefer watching that at home. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I think it really depends on who is there and the kind of inductees. So I thought Stacey Keebler's intro by Tori Wilson and Mick Foley was all right. But yeah, Conan doing Rey Mysterio was great.
Oh, yeah, that was amazing. Yeah,
and that was to be honest, that was probably one of the shorter Hall of Fames. It wasn't even a long one, but I think because they've tacked it on to the end of SmackDown, the crowd is just burnt out to a degree. So I wonder if they want the kind of big reactions, they need to find a new place for it, which is difficult because obviously you've got NXT Takeover, which even that felt a little bit odd because at times the crowd was flat and then at times the crowd was really into it. So it's becoming a bit busy that week now.
I think for me, I was just jet lagged to hell because it's. I remember being on the plane and there's a bunch of lads there going to Mania, a bit older than us, and they were saying, "Oh, we do this every year. We do it as a group." And I was like, "That's amazing." They didn't represent any websites like we do. They were just doing it as a group of friends, a group of fans. And they said every time they do the Hall of Fame after SmackDown, we're always flagging during the Hall of Fame and we're all falling asleep and finding it hard by the Hall of Fame. I'm thinking to myself, nah, I'll have a few beers and Red Bulls in me by then. I'll be fine. Oh, sweet summer child. I'm there, just trying to keep my eyes open and trying to stay cool.
In body, but not in mind or spirit.
Yeah, it was like, and then we went. I don't know what we did. What did we do after SmackDown? I don't know if we went straight back to the hotel. I have no idea what we did. But is that the night we did Denny's?
Yeah.
Was it really? Oh wow. Denny, God, that was incredible. What an evening. I've never been to a restaurant and it be so memorable in my entire life. It was what even was that? It was like a comedy show.
In a long time. I think everyone was crying, laughing at one point.
Yeah. Basically, guys, if you don't know, first of all, I'm like.
Whoa.
No,
we don't talk about.
No, what happened? Denny's stays in Denny's. Yeah. Okay. It's one thing I will say is, do you know when a member of staff really doesn't want you there, but has to deal with you? And goes out of their way to make life incredibly difficult for you. It was like that, but we kind of, rather than complaining, or we killed him with politeness, didn't we? And it just made it even more hilarious.
Yeah.
But yeah, we won't say any more.
So even though the Gauntlet match is over, we're back from the commercial break to see Pretty Deadly still celebrating their win in the ring. And now Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn have come out to presumably have a bit of a promo battle. And Kevin Owens is not looking happy.
It's like you said, was it? I think you said a week or so ago, you're liking this angry KO who just rants at everybody and wants to beat everyone up, and Sami needs to be the voice of reason. I think I like angry KO. I think it's a fun gimmick. Doesn't take much to get under his skin.
Wrestling who actually has consistency in terms of he remembers longer than just a week ago.
Yeah. I remember there was a point where they turned Elias babyface and he had tagged with Balor or something like that. And then he, a week later, they turned him heel again because he was flip-flopping every week at one point, Elias. And then he came out and started beating up Balor. And they did the same thing with Braun Strowman. He was tagging with Balor and they were like mates. And 10 minutes later, he was attacking him. And I'm like, what is like? It's not even for a reason, just one's a heel, one's a face. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. The heels in wrestling make better friends than baby faces. They all get on. They're all a crew. They're all a clique. The minute you turn face, they hate you. But all the heels are friends. All the faces hate each other. It's absolutely stupid. But I get why they do it, but whatever. Matthew Lincoln is saying, what's happened so far? Well, we've had a gauntlet tag match. Pretty Deadly won it, and a few other teams got buried. And if you look at the lineup of the teams, it's exactly who you think. Pretty Deadly are now running their mouth to Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, which is probably a mistake. Misfit saying he's seen the Flash on Sunday. Is it weird? Say again.
So I saw it last night.
Oh, how was it? Was it good?
Yes, but
Yeah.
what I will say is don't go into it thinking it's going to be any kind of masterpiece. If you are happy enough to watch it, and I'm not going to spoil it, it's messy, it's a bit chaotic, but there are some very good moments in it. It's very fun. It is very fun if you just kind of let yourself go with it. But yeah, it's definitely not one of those ones where you could put it up for any kind of best of the year or anything like that. It's just enjoy it if you like stupid superhero films.
I've heard it's overly stuffed with fan service, which I'm not too opposed with. But here's the thing with the DC movies, I kind of given up on them because me personally, I feel like they rushed the DC project to kind of catch up with Marvel, and it just collapsed under itself. And it, like, let's be honest, it got off to a bad start. Batman versus Superman and Justice League underachieved, commercially and critically, and that was where it really should have kicked off. But I think if everybody had their solo films first and then come together, yes, it would have been copying the MCU, but that's how you do it. That's how you build a universe. You don't just throw it together in 3 films.
I get that, but then I guess because Marvel had done it, they tried to go in a different direction to sort of do their own thing. But I think it's more because, and again, it's prevalent in the Flash. The CGI is pretty terrible for a massive studio. In this, they kind of get away with it because it is so kind of campy, and there are kind of circumstances where they get away with it. But yeah, it's a bit odd. Speaking of odd, is there a reason why Roman is now carrying 3 belts and not just the one? Or
that's a very good point. Yeah, surely the Universal Championship and the WWE Championship are now unified and represented by the new belt. So yeah, does he just get to keep them as trophies? Shouldn't they go into didn't he give it back to Michael Pierce? Is it Michael Pierce?
Adam Pierce. No, it was Triple H who presented him with his one. But no, he did keep them. It's a little bit odd because I don't know why I had this feeling that like that gold version was just for Roman. So if someone were to win it, it didn't. I don't know. They haven't really defined it, but maybe because now it just looks weird. They've got 3 massive belts with the logo on.
Are they just? Is the idea that he's just stacking them to say, "Look at all the things I've got"? Oh, it is that it's right there, Misfit. The blue one, it's there on the left. It was behind Paul Heyman's head, but it's there. But that would make a little bit more sense, isn't it? But they, I think we're reading too much into it. I think the gold belt is the one moving forward. I think they've been obsessed with the Universal Championship for years, and they've ignored the WWE Championship. But they can't have one replace the other. So unifying them is the only way, especially now they brought a new version of the big gold belt back. So it's, I'm happy with it. I don't mind. And here's IYO. Like, is she a babyface at this point, Andy? Because she is to me.
Who, IYO?
Yeah. She's not solidified it, but it's, come on now. Like, at what point? Like, crowd are going mad for her. She's been a bit more heroic, getting in Asuka's face and stuff like, you know what I mean?
They did. It was similar on NXT though, wasn't it? Because they tried to turn her heel, but because she's kind of like, she just is cool, and like her entrance is cool, it feels like maybe she's just destined to be a tweener, and you can't really like ever do anything with her. in terms of making her like fully heel or fully face, because I don't think people believe it. So maybe just making her a little bit crazy, but really talented. But it seems like they're going to have to do something with someone, aren't they? Because her and Bailey are going to have a fallout in the match at Money in the Bank.
That's where it looks like it's going. Yeah. So, well, they could swerve us. They could make Bailey the good guy and make IYO the bad guy, and then play up the whole Josie Judas thing again, because that was money that they didn't do enough with that. They turned the face so quickly that that kind of fell by the wayside. I get why though, because she was over as Rover. So IYO SKY.
Yeah, I wonder if do you reckon if Bailey went face again, would she go back to the hugger persona?
I'm not so sure, because I wonder. I think it might be a little bit like Sami Zayn. I think she might go face first, then be that face for a person, keep the music, do all that, and then at a big pay-per-view, we hear the old music and the Bailey buddies come back. I think they could do it that way, maybe at Mania. I think if they were just to bring back the Bailey buddies and make her a hugger overnight, it would feel a bit incongruent. But I think if they were to have a little bit of a path to it, and her embrace the hugger again after a while, that might make more sense, because that is super marketable. That's what WWE like. So poll. So who wins? So it's IYO SKY versus who again?
Is it Zelina?
Yeah, that's it. IYO SKY. Zelina Vega. Mrs. Malachi Black. There you go, Hassan. We have a poll.
And the match hasn't even started yet. What more could you ask for?
Boom. Thank you for reminding. I wouldn't have remembered if you hadn't told me. I should really do the banner actually as well. So he said, Misfit is saying, I did have breaking news at IYO during the Dynamite streaming. Oh, mate, I haven't watched that yet. I've been too busy. We're doing gaming stuff. I don't just play games, by the way. I do have to write about them. I do a load of other stuff. It is a full-time job, essentially 9 to 5. Probably more than that, with all the stuff all the games you've got to play on top of it. Plan is for IYO to dethrone Asuka for the title and feud with Bailey. Yeah, I could go for that. Now they've got it off Bianca, thank God.
That feels like another Oscar reign that's flushed down the toilet.
Yeah, it's a bit. She seems destined for that. Well, like if Asuka doesn't work out again, where does she go? What do they do with her? Like, what should she do? Go back to Japan? Maybe have a crack at AEW as Kana?
Back to NXT.
That's where she was interesting. That's where it's like she was like a great white shark in NXT. It was amazing. I'll do the banner actually.
I would like to see a match between her and Meiko Satomura.
Yeah, I would. I've never found Meiko that thrilling, but I do accept and appreciate her ridiculous amount of talent. I think it's just because I don't know much about her career before WWE, I suppose.
Yeah, me neither. But she was great on NXT UK. She had some great matches down there.
Yeah.
But I must admit, I feel very similar about Kaylee Ray. I've never really Alba Fire, as she's called now. I've never really understood the clamour because she seems to have two moves. She says like a swanton bomb and she has a finisher. And I've seen her quite a lot on the independent circuit, and it was always the same.
Yeah,
get it. Because she just seems to be her gimmick is that she's Scottish.
Yeah, she's married to another like long-time pro, Stevie Boy, ICW, and I think it's amazing because to see her go from ICW to Progress to NXT UK to NXT to the main roster. So it's a great journey, and it's I think I'm really happy for her for that. But I know what you mean. I I was interested in her as Alba Fire as the solo person, and I feel like everybody's doing these witch gimmicks at the moment. Impact are doing it as well with Taylor Wilde and Kaylin King, and it's not for me really. I get like it's the whole Celtic thing, and they've called it Alba because Scotland Alba, but I kind of liked the whole Boudica thing they did with her. With all the fire and stuff like that. I thought that was interesting, but then they kind of railroaded it by turning it into a Wiccan gimmick.
I think is that more because of our Isla Dawn's influence there, though.
Yeah, that is exactly why. And I suppose it makes sense if they're both Scottish, they're both having fire gimmicks, I feel like
You are right though, because I think even they have Valkyria on there as well, don't they? And who's got a similar-ish. Hey, I'm Irish, but I've got that kind of like Celtic charm going on.
Yeah, it's the Celtic thing, and I wouldn't mind, but Finn Balor did the whole Celtic thing before. Well, I'd say Sheamus too, because let's not forget Balor. Is a Celtic deity, kind of like almost like Loki, but there's probably a connection between Balor and Loki for all I know, but it's he's almost like a demon of folklore or something like that. That's probably where the idea for the demon came from, because I remember hearing Balor was the demon and Finn was almost a tribute to Fit Finlay. So it's been a very Finn Balor heavy night, hasn't it, tonight? Yeah, for us. Because we watched, you don't know, folks, Andy and I did a stream on Wrestling Royalty where we watched Finn Balor versus Seth Rollins 2016 match at SummerSlam. It's a banger, but it's a controversial match because it's the one Finn Balor got injured in after winning the Universal Championship and had to relinquish on Raw the next night. So it's a weird, bittersweet show. It really is, but it's one that, as you said earlier, Andy, quite rightly, it changed the trajectory of WWE. We thought it was going one way, and it had to then go another way, and it makes you wonder what could have been really.
Yeah.
And IYO seems to have lost to Zelina, which is interesting booking. Bayley cost IYO again. Yep, these two are cruising for a bruising with each other, aren't they?
Yeah, they don't seem to have the glue that was Dakota Kai to keep things like kind of on track. So it does seem to be falling apart a little bit for them for Damage Control, which all sets up nicely for Money in the Bank.
I'm into that. I am into that. I wonder if Misfit might know, but I wonder if Bayley's just going to see her win and then like clothesline her or something like that. After the match, or is she going to cost her and IYO loses a temper and smashes Bayley? Interesting. What do you? Oh, here we go. So we're seeing the recap about the belts, like last week. What do you think? Like, I get it with the men's. It's essentially we've gone back to the WWE Championship and the big gold belt era in a way. It's just a new version of that. But what do you think about the women's belts? Because I'm a little bit confused by the names of them now.
Well, they're referring to Oscars as was it the Women's Universal?
I'm not. Is it?
But then it says undisputed on the belt, so it seems like they've kind of made a bit of a misstep as to what it's actually called.
Yeah, because I was under the impression one is the WWE Women's Championship and the other is just the Women's Championship. That was the last thing. Again, that could be wrong, but
one's
that was
the World Championship, isn't it?
And one's women's. But what's the
technically
bloody difference?
is the ones that it would be the women's world heavyweight, but they didn't want to put heavyweight in the women's.
Yeah, that which I get, but why not just? I don't know. Like I get they're trying to get around the whole brand split thing. I do, but it seems to be a little bit a bit of a weird decision to make. And having another big gold belt Doesn't that cheapen the big gold belt? Not that the girls shouldn't have, well, the women shouldn't exactly have what the dudes should have. I think they've more than proved they should. But should the big gold belt be the big gold belt?
The belts on the women's, I would actually say arguably they might look better than the men's with the white strap. I think they would be cleaner, especially Oscars.
Yeah, I think there's an argument there. Do you know what belt I liked that had a white strap and it was for the dudes? When Miz had the IC, I feel like that was such a fashionable thing for him to have. It was a great reign. I don't care what anyone says. Say again.
That was Cody Rhodes who brought the white belt back.
Oh yeah. Oh wow, God, yeah, so it was. It's all coming back to me now. God,
like a Celine Dion song.
Yeah. I forget about Cody Rhodes' original runs. I enjoyed the whole Rhodes family reunion stuff. I thought that was pretty cool. I thought the whole legacy storyline was a bit ridiculous, a bit played out, a bit contrived. And we can pretend Stardust never happened, can't we?
So we can get Grayson Waller Effect next.
Yeah. I think he's money, and Grayson Waller. Do you think he's a future? I think he's a future. What am I trying to say? World champion, WrestleMania main eventer.
Yes, I do. I think he's great in the ring, but I think he's even better on the mic. And he's a good character as well. He knows how to elicit a reaction from whatever crowd he's in front of. And I think he'll probably go through moments in his career where he veers from being hated to being over because he is such a, like a SHIT. So he just knows how to get the crowds, like he suckers them in. And some of it's a bit cheap, but it still gets that the reaction that he wants. So yeah, I think he's destined for big things. And people often talk in NXT about Carmelo Hayes and Bron Breakker, but really they also need to talk about Grayson Waller. So those three, I can see all three of them in a triple threat match at some point on the main event of WrestleMania.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool. Is there anybody else in NXT you've got your eye on, or you think it's a big deal? Because let's be honest, it's obviously Carmelo is the champion at the moment. Bron is having a bit of a thing with Rollins, who's on the main roster.
You can't look past Dragunov. I think Dragunov has got everything needed to really to get up there as well. And he's more of he lets his wrestling do the talking. Like he's a kind of old school, like throws his body around with like absolutely no regard for his own welfare. Tyler Bate, I'd say down there. I love Wesley. I think he's great. I don't know if he'll ever reach the kind of like upper echelons of the main roster, but I certainly think he's the kind of person you could put the IC belt on or the US title on, and he would be fantastic with it. So the future's bright in that respect. So
I struggle with the name. I know I've done this before. I've said this before, but I do struggle with his name. I mean, like, there's not a world like you say his name fast. His name is Wesley. Well, Wesley's the guy who tells the teacher on you for not doing your own work. He's not a world champion fighter. So I don't know. I struggle. Like they had a guy called Desmond Xavier, and they went with Wesley. I just my mind boggles with that. I can't get past it. Michael, all right, mate. You look after yourself, pal. Like that's fair enough. But yeah, but I know what you mean though. As a wrestler, as a man, yeah, he's amazing. Here we go. Trouble in Paradise.
Oh, look, it's friend of the show, Shotzi.
Friend of the show. I swear she has more tattoos every time I see her. What went wrong with Shotzi? I know like she's still like everything could still go right, but what is it? The fact that we just don't see her enough?
She had that unfortunate run where she seemed to be the person that whoever they wanted to put over would go against Shotzi. And she had quite a few matches in a row where I don't know if it just didn't click with Charlotte, but it made her look really slow and a bit cumbersome in the ring, and a bit green. Pardon the pun. That's not a shot at her hair.
Like it. I kept on thinking for a moment, like because we had Tony Storm on the main roster as well, didn't we? And they absolutely annihilated her, didn't they? It was a burial for the ages. Like, how did they ever expect her to recover from that? And well, she couldn't, could she? I suppose so.
No, and also like I don't know how they expect the women's division to recover if they keep throwing Charlotte into every title opportunity and not giving her like. The thing with Charlotte and people really don't like is just she comes and goes now, and she only ever comes back if she's got a title. Well, put the work in and help other people be elevated in the division, because right now Charlotte's not helping make any future stars. She's all about Charlotte.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Is it coming from her or is it the bookers? Do you know what I mean? Because she is excellent. She's one of the best they have. Like, still, hands down. But I know what you mean. I've seen it. I've seen it all. Like, they are. I think what she needs is a good story. I don't need her to hold. It's like the same with Brock Lesnar. Like, I got bored of him holding a belt because that was the story, and that's okay to a point. But we're at the point now where, it's storyline that matters to me with someone like Charlotte. Give her a decent story and let's see the range and see what she can do with that. Give me a reason to want to see the match. I suppose Cody and Brock, they're doing that now. Brock is obviously... I still don't think they had a reason as to why Brock attacked Cody. I still don't know if they've thought that up. I don't think we'll ever know that. But at least it's intriguing. You know what I mean? Although I do think it was a spur of the moment Vince decision that day, that night. From what we all hear. Unless I hope I'm wrong. I hope they do give us a reason as to why that is one day. Brock coughs it up, but it's I think this might be the mystery GM and stuff all over again. So it'll end up being Hornswoggle did it.
How would you explain what Charlotte's wearing right now?
I don't think I'd try. I think I just I have no words. I don't want to be rude. I don't want to be disrespectful, but what the hell is that? Although I've seen Seth Rollins wear worse.
True. I think that outfit would make Poison Ivy blush.
Yeah. Well, the Uma Thurman Poison Ivy.
Yeah.
Yeah. God, that was a bad film. Because I was saying, before Misfit, when we talk about Batman, I'm looking forward to seeing Michael Keaton's Batman again as well. But back onto Batman and DC films, I feel like we have so many different Batmen right now. Bringing back Keaton, they did it at the wrong bloody time. Like, I get it's a multiverse film, so they can do what they want. But how many people are playing Batman and the Joker at the moment? It's ridiculous. Like, I'm not some Marvelite who hates DC. I love DC and Marvel, but I do feel like one has crap the bed.
It is explained, to be fair.
Yeah, no, I get it. It's the multiverse. They can do what they want. They're all in different universes. That's fair enough. But to a casual fan, like, have a Batman, have a Joker, and go forward. Don't have multiple different franchises with different people playing them roles in different universes. It's like,
I get that, but from the perspective of like it's a comic book film, and if you look at in a shop you go in a comic book shop, you would see about 6 different Batman comics that have nothing to do with each other. So it kind of is actually a bit closer to what comic books do. So I'm not mad at it, especially as like they've just explained. Well, James Gunn's explained moving forward, they'll have the DCU, and then they'll have what was it, anthology films or something they called them, where they kind of just spin off like standalone, like the Joker's its own thing. So.
And the Batman and the current Batman with Robert Pattinson, which was great. And the Joker movie was a great movie as well. They were both awesome films. I just my only worry with the DCU is the thing that worries me, and I desperately want it to succeed, but I feel like, is the damage done a little bit? Are they better off going back to the solo films and maybe building it back up slowly and having little connections here and there? And saying that, maybe that's exactly what they're doing, because it doesn't look like
that is what they're doing.
Yeah,
they're going to release, like, Superman's going to do its own thing, and they're doing like different sort of chapters. So I think the first one is called Gods and Monsters. So it's like that's the theme of the next kind of like load of films. But yeah, anyway, back onto the wrestling side of things. We've got Bianca Belair coming out.
This is something we've seen, isn't it? Like, is she? I can't tell if she's a heel or a babyface anymore, Bianca.
I think she's going to snap, isn't she, eventually? Because they've really screwed her over in the storyline, because she was told, "Oh yeah, don't worry, you'll get your rematch." I 100% agree, and then literally half an hour later, you're at the back of the queue, effectively.
Hi to is it Cody Burris 678? I can't even count. 678. How you doing? Thanks for joining us on Twitch. Most of our people watch us on YouTube and Facebook, so it's cool to get a Twitcher on there. We always stream to Twitch, but most of our guys go through the other platforms, so that's cool.
Cody B.
Yeah, we were laughing before about everyone thinking Cody Rhodes his name is in that theme song. Well, I bet if it is now, I'm never making an observation again.
It's not.
Have you looked?
I sent you the before WrestleMania. I sent you both the lyrics, and I think he just chose to keep you winding you up.
Yeah, he knows. He knows. I don't even know why it's become one of my pet peeves, but it has. I don't even mind Dom singing it. Do you know what? It wasn't even Dom who annoyed me. It was all the guys on the bus who were just like determined. Like, they didn't want to check the lyrics. They didn't need to. They were so confident that they were right. I was like, dude, I've got the lyrics in front of me. Like, I wasn't arguing with a busload of people, by the way. I was kind of just snarling to myself while Dan giggled at my anger. So again, is this the match? Like, it'll be a good match if they do this again. But is this something you want to see, Bianca Charlotte?
I think I prefer to see it become a triple threat match with Bianca in it as well. There's more kind of mileage in that, but it's nice to see Bianca calling out Charlotte on her antics of losing and then not being seen for ages.
Yeah, because she's us, I suppose, isn't she, in that context? She's certainly you, because that was your criticism a moment ago, and I agree quite completely. I've defended Charlotte a few times when people have criticised her, but it is hard to argue with your observation earlier, and it does make you wonder what are they doing, because the women's roster is actually quite strong. I know AEW have a lot of good talent, but it's in a bit of a mess in terms of how they're booking it. But I think WWE's isn't so bad.
Although I think it needs a bit of building and a bit of nurturing, because we're okay now, but when Bayley's gone and Charlotte's gone and Becky's gone, it starts to become a bit thinner. But at least, like, Becky is having matches with people that are potentially the tomorrows of the roster, especially at the moment. She's doing great things over on Raw, and yes, she had this stuff with Trish, but at least she had the whole thing with the whole of Damage Control. I just don't think the same could be said about Charlotte, but it's cool to see Bianca getting some barbs here.
Yeah, she really is. Misfit saying the grin on Io's face, "I'm just trying to help," was great. If Bayley loses tonight, she's out of Money in the Bank. That's the story I'm interested in with the women's division. It's the Bayley IYO thing. That's the thing that's got me, like Charlotte and Bianca. I feel like I need a bit of a break from, if I'm being honest. Again, a triple threat with somebody else involved, that would do it for me, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, here we go. Some Uso action. Do you think we'll see some story further significantly tonight, or are they going to spin the wheels till Money in the Bank?
I think they kind of have to do something because they've only got 2 weeks left before they're in London. But it could go all the way through to London before they announce whatever is going to happen at Money in the Bank.
Yeah. Misfit saying, "Oh, Misfit, you're back to your other one. IYO is going to purposely cost Bailey. Oh, I do hope so. God, if that happens tonight, I'll pop." Daniel's in. I Daniel. Cody's saying, Cody B. I don't know what's going to happen to Jey Uso tonight. Me neither. Daniel, it's all right, mate. This isn't school, mate. You it'll work. You can pop in and pop out whenever you want, but we do appreciate you popping in, of course. But you never need to apologise for being late. It's all good. How did everybody feel about seeing Jimmy Uso smash Roman Reigns in the face? Because I thought it was cathartic as all hell. What about you?
Yeah, I think it was a long time coming, and probably a bit of surprise it was Jimmy, but yeah, it was a really cool moment. In some respects, I would have liked to have seen what that would have been like in, I don't know, like a Chicago or a Philly.
Yeah.
But it was a good moment because the Saudi crowd, which is notoriously a bit kind of hit and miss, they popped big for it. So you knew it was a big moment when they got a reaction, even across there.
It's I know what you mean, because like if we had a more smarky crowd, they might have all erupted. I suppose it might have been more. I bet they're excited about coming to London actually, because I think
yes,
London are gonna rip the roof off that place. How rowdy they can be. So just get to some of these comments. Misfit saying people want more storylines for the women. Well, SmackDown has 3 going on right now. Yeah, but
which one's on Money in the Bank?
Yeah. The IYO Bailey one is the one that's got me interested. I've been watching as long as everyone else, and I couldn't even name the others without sitting and thinking. Daniel saying, "Has any bloodline stuff happened?" No, not yet, but there's some. They're teasing something for tonight. Something will happen because Roman Reigns is here, so we think something will further the storyline tonight. The Usos really need to give Roman Reigns what for. I don't know what's going to happen in the main event. Me neither, but I'm looking forward to being surprised. IYO is going to get a massive pop when she turns on Bailey. I can't wait. Me too. Hi, Chris. Chris is saying, do you think Shotzi will beat Bailey? Yes, I do. I think IYO is going to cost Bailey. I think we're going to see a bit of drama in that story and the Bloodline story tonight. I'm actually quite into it. Daniel saying, I was glad when Jimmy did it, but I really wanted it to be Jey. Patience, Grasshopper. That's the story. That's the story, isn't it? We need it to be Jimmy right now to get Jey so riled up. We need horrible things to happen to Jimmy by Roman. The time has to be right for Jey just to go and just go Jey smash on Roman. They can't just, forgive the term, blow the load straight away. They need to tease it out, don't they? They need to do a little bit of foreplay, tickle your chin, do all of this. So the amount of ejaculation references Dom makes on the stream, I can get away with 1 or 2, I'm sure. Hassan, yes, can you get a vote? You certainly can. I'll do that now.
Well, before this match starts, I'll bid you adieu because I have an early start.
You do.
But I hope all the drama that you're hoping for does happen tonight.
Yeah.
I'm going to pick it up very soon.
Yeah, all right then, mate. Well, thank you for joining me. We've got plenty of people in. They can all keep me company, so that'd be nice. Please do.
And you're only 15 minutes away from the end already.
Hey, what? 50? Oh, 50 minutes. I thought you said 15 then. I got really confused. I was like, oh, what have I missed? What's going on? But yeah, 50-minute. But this is when it gets hard. This is post 2 a.m. That's when the yawns start happening. Although I am going to use my instant cooling mist to wake me up. So this might be funny. Let's see how this works out. Hang on. I don't think I've done this properly with a hat on and headphones on. Blimey.
But for the future, can you get a cutout of like Oscar's face and stick it on where the spray comes out, and then it makes it look like she's.
It's all clear though. It's clear. It doesn't really give you the whole. Oh, that's good.
Right. Enjoy Karrion Kross probably getting buried again for the 50th time.
I forgot about that. Yeah, he probably will. I'm sick of this. Like, he's not over enough, I suppose, right now. So I can't have a go at them for that. I imagine Scarlett is putting the ratings up, though. I imagine.
Yeah, it's a good note to end on. So I'm going to head off now.
All right, then, dude. All right, enjoy. Thank you for joining me.
Nice,
I'm sure we'll speak in the week at some point next week.
Yeah, all have a good night and keep Sam company, keep him awake, see him through for the next 50 minutes or so. See you guys.
See you in a bit, dude. Thank you. We'll do a vote. Karrion Kross in a moment. Oh, well, there's my massive face. There we go. Yeah, I'll do a vote in a second to Sam. I'll just 2 minutes. So it's AJ versus. I'll do it now. Whatever. Okay. I'm fairly sure AJ's winning this one. IYO SKY won significantly the last poll, so that's cool. So who wins? Although Zelina won the actual match. Who wins? Karrion Kross. This is AJ Styles. See, I'm into this feud. I hope we do something cool with it. Let's go community. Let's go. I suppose I should do a banner as well, shouldn't I? There's so much housekeeping I don't do. Banner. Here we go again. Go on, AJ. I love AJ Styles, I do, but I sort of want Kross to win just to get a win. AJ Styles. Kross. Comments. So I think I'm behind on a couple. So Cody saying Uso needs to pick his brother. That's what's happening. I'd say we got, but they have to tease it for longer. But we are going to get the Usos versus Roman. But I'll fantasy book what I think is going to happen, and I do have some sources. So I'll let you know. But again, these things are always subject to change. If WWE say anything or something leaks, doesn't mean it's going to happen, because they can and will change their mind if something changes. And they do it quite often as well, especially at the moment. As long as Bayley doesn't cost IYO at Money in the Bank. Yeah, I know you and me want that, but come on, if you were booking it, is that not too sweet not to do? Like, if we take our fan hats off and put on our what would make things spicy hats, that could make things spicy. Bayley wins. Well, we'll see. Because I think, Chris, I honestly think IYO's going to cost her, mate. I think Shotzi's winning tonight. Daniel saying Jay and Gimme versus Solo and Roman at a main event. Yeah. So I'll tell you my predictions here, and they have been pretty good. They haven't all come true, but some have. The general beats have come true, just not when I suggested them, I suppose. But yeah, I think Gimme needs to feud with Roman. He needs to get put on the shelf by Roman. Roman needs to brutalize Gimme to make Jay snap and go back after Roman, and then we have a do-over of the Jay and Roman feud. And I think we need to see Roman get his ass kicked, but ultimately scurry away with the belt. So I feel like Jay has to get the spiritual victory there. He walks away a redeemed man, but Roman is still the champion. Roman's essentially, Jay wins the feud but Roman wins the belt. Is what I predict. But then we start the road to Solo Sikoa turning on Roman, which I think will be a much longer road. And it wouldn't surprise me if that goes all the way to WrestleMania and Solo turns on him at one point when he sees Roman for who he is, jumps off the apron, and is like, nah. And again, it feels to me that Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes are being pulled away from each other so they can be pushed back to each other around the Royal Rumble time. That is what I predict. It's also what I'm hearing as well. Again, it could change, but they haven't done all this stuff with Cody Rhodes, bringing back into the company and done this whole finish the story thing to not let him win the big belt at some point. Jimmy and Jay aren't there yet in the same way Sami Zayn wasn't there yet. They could be one day, but I think they're definitely going to get a victory over Roman in a tag team match at a big pay-per-view. Misfit saying, is it hot in here? No, it's just Scarlett. Yep, she is a incredibly beautiful woman. It is very, very hard to look away. She's incredible. Martin is saying, evening, mate, hope you're okay. Hello, mate. I don't know what it was I jumped onto the other day, Martin, on Twitter. I was just sat in the garden surrounded by dogs drinking beer. And I thought, oh, that's happening. I'll pop in for a minute. But I think I had a podcast on or something, so I couldn't quite hear what was going on. I just thought I'd pop in and say hello. So do feel free to plug that or let us know what you were doing. That'd be cool. Mr. Say people forget that Scarlett is a really good pro wrestler. Yeah, that's what I mean. And I feel like, don't get me wrong, this whole Herald thing is pretty cool, what they're doing. I'm into it. Like with her getting the hourglass and putting it down, it's pretty cool. But I don't know if she needs to wrestle for a while. I'm happy with her in that role. But yeah, we do forget. Because even Impact, her gimmick was she's really, really attractive. That was her gimmick. And I feel like it was a little bit of a waste of her potential. I don't know. If I was booking, IYO still wins regardless. Yeah, no, I get it. I do. But I'm like, they've got I suppose even if IYO did win, they could then make Bayley pretend to be happy for her and pretend to be friends, and then it go wrong. But I think IYO is going to cost Bayley tonight, and then Bayley's going to ruin it for her at Money in the Bank, and that's going to lead to an absolute blood feud between them both. That's what I reckon is going to happen. But I've been wrong before. I could be wrong again. I likely will be. And what is the point of having a mind if you never change it? Daniel saying, so have a title match, Jay versus Roman, to Roman retain, but Jay to be all over Roman. Yeah, I think, yeah, that's exactly what I think. I think like Sami did, like Cody did, like Drew McIntyre did, I think they'll batter Roman. They'll batter him. Like they will be the better man. Like in the Roman Reigns matches now, the idea is they beat him up. They are the better man, but Roman usually uses Solo Sikoa to cheat and win. So I think that is what they're going to do all the way until Mania. And I predict, or maybe before it, but I predict the storyline is going to be Solo gets frustrated with Roman Reigns, jumps off the apron, goes, no, do it on your own. If you are who you say you are, do it on your own. Roman then gets angry, gets in Solo's face, ref bump, doesn't see it. It wouldn't surprise me if Solo gives Roman a Samoan spike in the middle of a WrestleMania match, then leaves, walking out. Maybe by this point, we can't have the babyface win because of that. But I love the idea of, I think the story needs to end with Roman being alone, familyless, friendless. This is where being a bully gets you. It gets you alone. This is where being a cheat gets you. It gets you alone. Like, people need to remember Roman is a heel. The whole point of this story is for him to have the ultimate comeuppance, and for the good guys to win. But he needs to be completely alone, completely isolated. You know, he's not the tribal chief of anything. He's not the head of any. There's nobody at the table like he's the head of. That's where they need to go with this. An empty table, tribal chief with no tribe. And only then can he start the road to redemption. That is what I think. But that's just me. So Marty's saying, honestly, mate, it was just a bunch of my friends who chat absolutely random rubbish. You didn't miss much. Fair enough, fair enough. Oh, it's Cameron Grimes. I didn't know, this whole gimmick about Cameron Grimes winning loads of money through doing stocks and shares on gaming is actually true. He really did win a load of money. I just thought it was a cool gimmick on an NXT. But no, he did win a load of dosh, which is amazing. Wish I'd thought of it. He says, appreciate you dropping by, mate, and saying hello. So then IYO wins, you can have Bailey be jealous. Yeah, that's true. And that's good booking. To be fair, whatever happens, I'm game for whatever they do in this Bailey IYO story. Like we know where it's going roughly. We know they're going to start battering each other and get mad. I'm just excited to see how they get there because it's a feud I want to see. And Daniel's saying, I'd make Solo beat Gunther for the IC title. That's a match I'd watch. I think one of them needs to be a babyface before it happens, perhaps. Otherwise, it's heel on heel and it's heat on heat on heat and it might not have any blow off. But like heel versus heel can work, but one always has to be the de facto face. It's a great way of turning. A heel versus heel is a great way of turning someone face as well. But that is a match I'd love to see. I think both those guys are awesome. They're both like big, burly killers as well. They're great. He would leave to film a movie after he's alone and not come back and then come back and redeem himself. That's exactly what I think. I've also a bit of future fantasy booking. I've said this a few times on stream, but I love the idea of another Samoan wrestler, someone from the Anoa'i clan, like Jacob Fatu, another really dominant member of Roman's family, one of his cousins, to join the company, and then be like, hang on, you called yourself the tribal chief. I never agreed to that. You weren't my tribal chief. You're just a bitch. I love the idea of then another bully coming along, a bigger one, perhaps, and really stamp into the mud, kicking Roman while he's down. But they're the heel in this feud, and that might give Roman the chance to kind of reclaim his honor, reclaim his bravery by taking down that guy. That I'd quite enjoy that. I think that'd be fun. But we'll see. Martin saying, IYO is my pick for Money in the Bank. Certainly misfits. Sorry, this is when the yawns begin, guys. Yeah, let's just acknowledge the fact that Kross actually won a match a minute ago. Can we? Yeah, please, let's rehabilitate him. Because I was there, when he was feuding with McIntyre and having these cage matches at pay-per-views, I was into it. I was proper into it. Then what happened? Anyway, let's hope things improve. There's Misfit saying they have to be on the same show. Yeah, that's a good point. The draft has meant something-ish, kind of, so far, hasn't it? Makes a change. IYO is the majority of people's choice. I'd be up for it. It'd be something I'd see. Daniel saying, I hope LA Knight doesn't win Money in the Bank. Like me and Misfit have discussed this at length. See, I'm of the view that it needs to go on a heel, and a gobby heel who's good on the mic, who can just lord it over everyone, talk about it. Like, I thought Austin Theory was a great winner because the threat of him hung over every Roman Reigns match. Him coming out trying to weasel his way in, that was cool. Damian Priest is also a good choice, but it seems that they're turning Priest babyface, doesn't it? Slowly but surely. There's dissension among the ranks. Or maybe they don't. Maybe they're going with Balor to turn face and it's all in this direction. I don't know. I think the beginning of the end of the Judgment Day is coming. Oh, stop yawning. It's driving me mad when these yawns happen. It's every 2 minutes. I've seen Santos Escobar cut a babyface promo with Rey Mysterio. Like Santos is great, but I've seen him as a bad guy in NXT for so long. Oh, here he is. Yeah. I'd love it to be Dom. Oh, that would. Do you know what? That would be fun. Like that would be a heat magnet, nuclear heat. Especially in London, they'd rip him apart. Oh, Ray got pushed over. Go on, Santos. But yeah, Dominic winning and croning about it will be. Yeah, it's not going to happen though. You're right, Misfit, because he's wrestling Cody, so he won't be in the match. But yeah, I feel like when are they ever going to pull the trigger on LA Knight as well? Like, they must have some plan. They must have something that they're doing. It depends on the title, though. Should have put the title on Ray and have Dom cash in on Ray. Yeah, maybe. It depends on which title, doesn't it? Because it's not going to be Roman's. And it's certainly not going to be Seth's either. I think the only person I can conceive of losing it anytime soon is Austin Theory. Is the only, like, and even then they didn't have him go over Cena at Mania just to take him, the belt off him straight away. So I'm not saying they're all safe, but they're relatively safe until they're not. I think it's going to be anyone. It's going to be Logan Paul. Yeah, Logan Paul can be a gobby scumbag. He can. Him holding that belt, and what's it worse is he could go away and still have the belt and then come back anytime because he's a part-timer. Because you don't need to see Money in the Bank briefcase on TV every week. You don't need to. It's enough to know someone has it and they could crop up anytime. You don't need to see it every week and be reminded about it every week. Like they did with Carmella or like they did with Otis, just carrying it around full of meat. What was the... Oh. We've had some pretty terrible Money in the Bank winners over the years. The Baron Corbin one was bad as well. I loved the Austin Theory one. I just loved it. More convincing now is that Logan Paul is winning. More convinced now that Logan Paul is winning Money in the Bank. Yeah, I've kind of talked myself into it as well. They are going to do Seth versus Paul 2 at SummerSlam. Game for that. Big stage, big stars. Do it. Hassan, yes, you can. Let me just get rid of the banner as well. Hang on a minute. Have we actually got a match yet? Let's just wait and see what they do after the break because I'm not convinced. I think I was too busy talking. If you could bring any wrestler to WWE, who would it be? Let me have a think. Tell me who you guys would have. I think it'd have to be... Would it be someone from AEW? I like the idea of having Aleister Black back. I feel like that or Adam Cole. I feel like those were two who got away. So they're two who I'd like to see back. I even feel like Cody's got unfinished business in AEW one day. I'd also like to see what Kenny Omega does there. I'm not so interested in the Young Bucks, especially, but I'd love to see what a Triple H booking Kenny Omega would look like. Because there's a lot of dream matches we could have there. I'm not a fan of everything he says and everything he does, but I don't deny the man's obvious insane talent, you know? Misfit saying, and having two Money in the Bank matches and people also know something. Yeah. Gilia from Stardom. I haven't watched much Stardom, so I'm not really familiar with it. All right, LA Knight versus Santos Escobar. You're right, Hassan. Let's do that. Vote for you, mate. do that now. AJ won the last poll. Didn't quite work out that way though, did it? Okay. Just start a poll. Santos. Escobar. I still can't believe they called him that. LA Knight. Still can't believe they didn't book him in LA. I'll just quickly do the banner actually as well. Oh. You wonder what that noise was? A cat just appeared behind me. Hello, Archie. How you doing? Meow. Hiya. Quickly do the banner. Got distracted by a cat. He's going to go back outside in a minute. I think I've got LA Knight to win this one, folks. Santos Escobar. This cat wants feeding, but he just got fed an hour or two ago. It's not time. It's 2 a.m., mate. I'm not feeding you. So who else have we got? Defo Moxley for me. So the Shield could reunite. Yeah, maybe, but I think a lot of water would need to go under a lot of bridges, I think, for that to happen. I don't know if I think Moxley might do his time in AEW, you know, because he's not motivated by money. He's motivated by creative freedom and things like that. Like, you know, he said, I remember he said once, I've got the money now. I don't need that anymore. I just want to do what I want to do. And I believe him. I completely believe him. So I don't think he needs WWE. He's certainly not a clout chaser either. So he's not about fame and fortune, and he's about doing what he wants. And I get that completely. In many ways, I think I took a massive pay cut doing the job I've got now, but I enjoy it so much more than what I used to do. And I think I made a lot of what I needed then. So I do understand that mentality a little bit. I'm perfectly fine with Moxley not coming back to WWE. Yeah, I think he is too. I think Moxley is. I can see Bianca versus Asuka versus Flair. See, that is the only way I'd be up for that if they had Asuka in that match. You know, that's the only way I'd be up for it, because Bianca versus Charlotte. Oh, I've seen it. Give me something new. Moxley's having the run of his best entire career, and he's getting to do the things he wants to do. Yeah, I was more into. I'm not gonna lie. I was more into Moxley's run earlier in AEW. I'm finding the whole gimmick of the guy who bleeds a lot not that interesting at the moment. But I like the Blackpool Combat Club. Not so much, not just because I was born in Blackpool, the same town William Regal is from. So that I find that quite cool. You know, Blackpool is 15 minutes away from me in that direction. So it's I don't live there myself, but that's pretty crazy. I like the stable. But I want to see more wrestling matches with Jon Moxley rather than the hardcore matches. But to be fair to him, he has done a whole bunch of them, so it's all good. One of these two I see winning Money in the Bank. See you all tomorrow. Catriana says you won't see me. I won't be doing the collision stream tomorrow. I'll be recovering from this one. And I've got a backlog of AW to watch as well, you know. But I think you will see the other guys. I think Dan, Dom, and Ant might be on. I don't know all of them, but we will certainly be here, just without me tomorrow. I mean, him being an AW is the best example to Moxley. Yeah, he's happier, isn't he? He's happier, and he's doing what he wants to do. So, and that's what matters. And he has had some bangers. Yeah, I know. He doesn't like. I know he's done a lot of matches that haven't been hardcore matches. I think there was just a time where I felt like everything he did was a hardcore match, and I'm not into. I understand. For example, they did Gigi Dolan versus JCJ in NXT a while ago had that cage match with weapons and battered each other, and it was great, and it made sense for that match in that feud to be a cage match with weapons. It made all the sense in the world. It doesn't make sense for that to be the first match in a feud. Like not at all. It's that should be when a feud has erupted into uncontrollable violence, and the two people need to be contained, and fists just won't do. That is, and holds won't do. That is what hardcore wrestling is for. It's for blood feuds. I don't want to see those tactics used too soon, because then they lose their impact. And it drives me mad when they do that, because that, it just winds me up completely when they do that. And AW can be guilty of it sometimes. Before you know it, we get to exploding barbed wire matches that don't explode right. See Rhea versus Asuka at Mania. I'd enjoy that. Surely Rhea's got to be a babyface by then, and surely she's holding that belt until Mania. Yeah, Mox got to do the G1. Not a lot of people can say that. Yeah, and that was on his bucket list as well. So yeah, I was really happy for him. But when he got to do that, that's what was great. See Moxley in the G1. That's the sort of stuff I want to see Moxley do. I want to see him put on these technical masterclasses against these hard-hitting, strong style guys. That's what I want to see. I want to see some New Japan matches with Moxley. I've seen my fill of sports entertainment and hardcore matches with him. I want to see some sport-like competitive matches from Moxley, because I think that brings out the best of him. Ospreay versus Omega is money, but to me, Sting versus Jericho will be fun. Yeah, I mean, like Omega versus Ospreay versus Omega. The last time we saw that, it was an absolute banger. I would love to see that again soon. Oh, so good. That's the Kenny Omega I want to see. That guy, that badass who puts on those matches. That's what the Omega I want to see. Not the guy who does comedy with the Young Bucks, and football field matches and stuff like that. It comes out with brooms. I want to see the best bout machine. That's what I want to see from Kenny Omega. I understand they can't do that every week, though, of course. Now we get Brian in the G1. I mean, that's a dream come true for me. That is, I imagine it's a dream come true for him as well. So again, I'm happy for him. It's what a that he's so suited to that, and that's the sort of thing he should do before his career ends. And I imagine it's something he's always wanted to do. It's the sort of thing he can do in AEW that he couldn't do in WWE. Just to come on, like, I love Sting. I've been a massive Sting fan all my life. There's actually an action figure of Sting behind my head there on that top shelf. He's fallen over at the moment because of the wind. But no, I know Brian isn't in it at the moment, but he has the opportunity to be at some point, maybe next year. Every year I look at the roster and think, oh, she's going to be in it. But you've got to think at some point he will be. He's got to be. I just want to go back to this Jericho thing. I'm not into Jericho at the moment. I'm just not at all. I was so excited about him signing with AEW, and I enjoyed a lot of what they did with him as the first champion and all of that stuff. But I feel like he sort of kills momentum. I think he means to, but I think, like, I don't know. I'm not so sure if AEW needs a break from Jericho and then bring him back and as a babyface, and we can all sing his song. Perhaps. Just my thoughts. And Kingston is in it this year. He's another one who'd benefit from it, and he's owed it in many ways. And he's a little bit different, Eddie Kingston, where Daniel Bryan is almost made for the G1. Or Bryan Danielson, should I say. But Kingston's a little bit of a wild card. And you know full well if Ishii is in there, they are going to chop the ever-living crap out of each other, like they've done multiple times before. It's almost rude of them not to. It'll be 9:57 before Roman gets to the ring. Yeah, it'll be 2:57 BST as well. Imagine Jade Cargill versus Rhea in a match. Both, yeah, that'd be awesome. Like, Cargill is one of the most improved female wrestlers in the business at the moment. She was a bit stiff and a bit awkward in the early days of AEW, but now she's silky smooth. So yeah, 100%. And Rhea Ripley just is impervious to bad matches at the moment. Hey Yazza, Roman has 3 belts. I know, don't remind me. The whole point of this unification was the WWE Championship and the Universal Championship are now represented by one belt. Essentially, the ancient WWE Championship has now absorbed the Universal Championship, and they are now together. Having all 3, just, I get they're doing it for the visual. I get that, but it kills the point, doesn't it? He hasn't won 3 belts. He's won 2, unified them, and now should have 1. Like, when he unified him, he shouldn't have had the 2. Like, it doesn't work for me. Let him keep that belt. Yeah, I'm not a Jade Cargill person. I think she looks $1 million. I think she can now go in the ring. She's definitely improved. So I'm yeah. Oh, now we're gonna get an ad break while Roman just walks in circles around the ring for 4 minutes. Yeah, so I'm trying to, like, I've never been a huge fan, but she's definitely grown on me in the past year or so, Jade Cargill. Here comes another yawn. There it is. Aye, it's ZJI. Just dressed as a Kool-Aid guy with a top hat on. No one will see through that disguise. No one will ever get that title except Roman. I suspect a certain American Nightmare might in Philadelphia. So Sami and Kevin Owens going to get 6 when they get new title belts. Yeah, you've got to think they're next, don't you? You've got to think they're next. Like, the visual is already a bit ridiculous. It made sense with Gimme and Jey Uso a little bit, because it was the whole point is they were hoarding everything. But now, like, they didn't separate the belts. Are they even, like, yeah, I think they are unified, aren't they? So they need to figure something out there. Unless they split them again. But I don't think so. There hasn't been a Jade Cargill match where I was like, I gotta watch. Yeah, I'm the same. I'm the same. Big fan of Taya Valkyrie. Interviewed her a couple of times. But yeah, even that feud didn't do it for me. But I don't think that's either of the competitors' fault. I think that the whole you're not allowed to do that move story has been done too many times by AEW, in my view. That they did it with Moxley and someone else. Bianca Belair versus Jade Cargill. Yeah, I'd be game for that. Another two powerhouses who can knock 7 bells of what out of each other. There are Cargill matches that I would make a beeline for, though. Britt Baker, perhaps, or what's her name? The current Ring of Honor Women's Champion. She was Ember Moon. She's now Athena. Like, I think she's a powerhouse. That I think she could put on a good showing. Internet's just going slow. I don't know if I'm still on. Yep, I am, I think. Yeah, Asuka and Rhea didn't get to keep their titles. No, and so yeah, I'm still not sure I'm down with that. I don't mind them getting shiny new belts. That's cool, but it's a bit confusing with the names of them and what they represent. At least with Raw and SmackDown, we knew one was on one brand, one was that champ, one was that champ. I get they've done it to make it more, brand unification, because they've just done a proper brand split and then killed the branded belt. So it's a bit confusing, especially for casual fans. I know people like us are going to know it, but for the casual audience, it's a bit like, what? A match with Shida did nothing for me, and Shida is my favorite wrestler in AEW. Well, there you go. I think, I was very interested in Shida in the early days. But I feel like they've kind of, they book a strong, then they don't book a strong, then they book a strong, then they don't book a strong. I think that's AEW in a nutshell. I'm not anti-AEW, by the way. I'm not like it's one of these WWE only guys. I do watch AEW religiously and want nothing for the but the best for it. I just need it to get under my skin in a good way again, Becky and Charlotte versus Damage Control. Yeah, Becky and Charlotte. But Becky and Charlotte could feud until the end of time, like Batman and the Joker, but I don't know if that's something either person wants to do. And let's be honest, they've both got enough clout in the company to, if they don't want to wrestle somebody, probably to say it. Especially with Triple H in charge, who probably takes the concerns of the talent a lot more seriously than the other guy. I mean, if I get Shida, isn't always available. Yeah, but have good creative for her. Yeah, it doesn't mean it does it for me, but I suppose so. Here comes one of the Usos. I think SummerSlam, Daniel. I think it's Bayley versus IYO. I think they're going to be battering each other all the way up until maybe Extreme Rules or wherever we go from here. In fact, Becky versus IYO. Would love to see that again because that deserves a bigger stage, doesn't it? But I think IYO is going to get that bigger stage, and then she can kind of have more matches like that on pay-per-view. That'd be cool. Right, is Gimme going to stick it to the tribal chief? 10 minutes to go. I'm not so sure. I can't remember if it was a TV match or not. I think it was. We do sometimes get some insanely awesome TV matches. Yeah, it was on Raw. Becky versus Rhea needed a bigger stage. I think it did too. And I think it's destined to again one day. Yeah, it was a while ago. But I remember being impressed by it. Because it's very hard with Raw and SmackDown to not pick up my phone and drift away. You know what I mean? Like, I know I shouldn't, and wrestling's a visual thing, but come on, it's Raw. It's SmackDown. So more with Raw, because I'm usually doing this for SmackDown. So, but I do watch it back properly, like on a Saturday. Normally while I'm having a cup of tea and waking up, I watch it a second time. Not properly. I fast forward through all the guff, and I fast forward through anything I've already seen and not bothered about. But this is the sort of thing, this Roman promo that I'll watch again. I think Becky versus Rhea is being saved for Mania 40. Who's the baby face, though? Becky, presumably? I feel like they flip-flop Becky a bit too much recently. Where I feel like they're also... The crowd are ready for Rhea to be a face. So That's my only concern with that. Like, yeah, you could do face on face, but I don't know. Andrade versus Buddy Matthews tomorrow on Collision. Oh boy, yes, please. Yeah, that'll be a banger. I'm tempted, with Collision. I could watch it Sunday, I'm sure, but I might not be up to date with AEW by then. However, it is going to air in the UK on ITV on Wednesday, so I might just add it to my Skybox and just watch it there. Old fuddy-duddies like me, though, need something to hang their hat on. I'm not saying you need the babyface heel dynamic in every single match. You absolutely don't. Sometimes there's nothing better than an honourable duel between two babyfaces, and sometimes there's nothing better than one heel being so evil, another heel doesn't look so bad by comparison and becomes a bit of an anti-hero. So, you can do a lot of good with face versus face and heel versus heel. I also like two tweeners going at it as well, because that's when things about like the Attitude Era was full of that. Was anybody ever a good guy in the Attitude Era? It was almost like, Warhammer 40k. Everybody's a bit of a scumbag, but it's up to you to pick who's the lesser scumbag. I just realised that Kevin Kelly and Nigel McGuinness are going to call a CM Punk match. Yeah, so they are. Wow. Is that first? It's got to be McGuinness, and Kevin Kelly has been around. Was he in WWE when Punk was there? I don't think so. Here comes Gimme. Tell me, guys, can you hear that fan behind me? Or is it not distracting or annoying, is it? It's been on for 2 hours, so I wouldn't have thought so. Yeah, that's what I mean. What are your thoughts on Ring of Honor at the moment? I'm quite enjoying it. I'm enjoying Honor Club and watching it every week. It feels like a better version of AEW Dark. It feels like what AEW Dark should have been. And it's also got enough Ring of Honor DNA to be different from AEW. Yeah, I'm behind too. I'm usually a week behind with it. I need to just move my ass and get it watched. But this weekend obviously I've got some games to play this weekend. But I would quite like to catch up with my wrestling backlog as well. This is a long-ass promo. Are we ever going to get some violence? Yeah, I'm really happy to have Ring of Honor back. I'm a big Ring of Honor guy, so it's nice to just have that back again. I feel like during the pandemic, my two favorite things to watch on my weekly wrestling diet were NXT UK for the pure matches, for the the cup matches that they're currently doing in NXT, and the pure rules matches they were doing in Ring of Honor. Empty arena in both cases, but they were putting that stuff on. It was just awesome. I'm going to try and catch up before Death Before Dishonor in July. Yeah, good shout. Don't be careful though, Misfit, because here's the thing with Ring of Honor. So the new episodes, they're doing the Ring of Honor, the AW Dark thing. Like some of them are like an hour long, others are 3 hours long. I kid you not. I didn't watch the whole 3 hours. I skipped again the guff. But there's a 3 hour episode on there, and it's like, oh, what? Do you remember the days where they were giving us like 2 hour episodes of AW Dark full of nothing but jobber matches? Luckily, they've not done that. There are a few on there, but a few jobber matches are acceptable. Yeah, there is. I kid you not. There is a 3 hour long episode of Ring of Honor on there. I don't know if it was the last week or the week before, maybe the week before that. But there's a bunch of 2 hour ones as well. That's not so bad.
But yeah, there's a 3-hour on there. I remember being halfway through and looking at an hour and a half left. Yeah, agreed. Too much. Do you know what I think Ring of Honor should be? Same length as Dynamite, Collision, SmackDown, and Impact every week. 90 minutes. Or the 2-hour thing, but really it's 90 minutes because you take out the ads. Give me 90 minutes of Ring of Honor every week. I'll be happy. But enough to skip, so it becomes maybe an hour and 15 minutes. Like SmackDown. If I watch SmackDown on my own, it takes me about an hour and 15 minutes to watch it. Because I don't watch the ads. I don't watch some of the BS, that silly stuff that they do. Raw takes me about an hour and a half to watch, maybe longer, if it's a good episode with lots of good wrestling. I don't watch commercials normally. I've never in my life sat down and watched 3 hours of Raw. Never done it. And I've been watching it since I was about 12, 11. Which is a long time ago. But we say, too much TK. That's what made AW Dark would have been a great thing to watch if it was unmissable viewing, but it wasn't. It was like several hours of job matches, and that's why they killed it. I said it before. Dark should have been a place for the mid card. Oh my god! Sorry, guys. Jay just killed Roman. Don't even think about it, Solo. Is that a question or a statement, Misfit? I'm not sure. Yeah, baby. Well, I said I wanted drama. I got my drama. What are you going to do now, big dog? What are you going to do? Bang. Oh, my Lord. Oh, guess who's at the next pay-per-view in person? This guy. We are going to see some things. Yeah. What a swerve. Blimey. Usos turned on the bloodline. That was so good. Yeah. Are you not watching, Daniel? Yeah, I'll tell you what happened then, mate. So basically, Jay was cutting a promo and it wasn't looking good for Gimme. It looked like Jay was going to fall in line, like they said. And then just out of nowhere, aggressively super kicked the ever-loving hell out of Roman and flattened him. Solo then got angry and ran at Jay, and Gimme took him out, and then both of them took out Solo with a joint super kick. Paul Heyman scurried from the ring. Roman Reigns then had a massive temper tantrum in the middle of the ring, smacking the ring, getting all upset and annoyed. And then the minute he stood up, the Usos double super kicked him and just destroyed him. So, yeah, that was cool. That was cool. Oh, wow. That was nuts. Wow. Well, I said I wanted drama, didn't I? I said I wanted drama, and there it was. Wow. Wow. Agreed. That's your main event for Money in the Bank. Yeah, it's you gotta think. You gotta think. Well, obviously, I know Balor versus Seth for the heavyweight championship is a big deal, but that's the money match, isn't it? Right there, it's gotta be. Like, yeah, like and here's the thing with this bloodline story: they've spent so long layering it, and so long making Roman this unkillable monster. Like the Sami Zayn stuff, let's not forget, like that was cinema. Yeah, and like this whole bloodline thing has been, and it's I think some of us made the mistake of thinking the pinnacle of this was them turning on Zayn and Zayn getting his redemption again in a losing effort. Sami got his redemption, got the tag team belts. He didn't need to win the other belt. He still got his redemption without doing it. And I think the Usos will have a similar story. Because it's about those characters it's good overcoming evil, but that was incredible. That was nuts. I did not think they were going to do that tonight, and I thought they were going to further the story along, but I thought we'd end up getting some dissension between one of the Usos and Roman. Like a kettle boiling over, rather than actually doing the boiling over, just getting to the boil. I didn't think they were going to just bang do it straight away. I think Rikishi would come down to the ring to spot the Usos. See, I think my problem with the older generation getting involved in this is we don't need them. No disrespect to them, but I don't really want to see them. I want this to be all about the current generation, the guys we have now, not the like Rikishi was the guy who used to rub his arse in people's faces. Like I don't need that in this story. It would just overcomplicate it. I don't even need Sami to be involved anymore. I feel like his part in this is done until him and the Usos ride together again one day, which I think they might do. I don't need Cody involved for a while. This is now, as far as I'm concerned, about those four men. Yeah, you're right. This isn't about titles. The titles aren't important. This is about family. Although this is a wrestling show, and Roman is the champion, holding 3 goddamn belts, although only technically 1. But I think both Usos need to have a crack at that title. I think they need to have a crack at it. But I do think they both need to lose. But they can still win the feud. They can still win the day like Sami Zayn did. They can... Again, they don't need those belts. I think Roman does need that belt because the minute he loses it, he's just a loser. He loses all his gravitas. He loses everything. So, and I don't think I have respect for Roman Reigns' title reign. So try saying that when you're drunk. Roman has been such a good champion and been involved in such good storytelling. He needs to lose that at WrestleMania, nowhere else. So I want him to keep hold of that all the way until Philly. And I want to keep this storyline or aspect of it going all the way until then. Like The Rock could get involved at some point. Like everyone thought he was going to do it at this Mania. I'm not so sure I need him to now. I'm not so sure I need him to. It might be a fun distraction for a while, but I don't want The Rock winning that belt. Not really. I love The Rock. I do. I adore him. But I don't want him to be the guy taking that belt off Roman Reigns. I think it needs to be someone with a future in the company, someone who can carry the company on their back into the future, not somebody from the past. Although it would be an exciting thing to cultivate, of course. So SmackDown closed with epicness. My God, it did. I can't wait to watch that back tomorrow. There you'll be a man without a family, a Roman with no more reigns, a chief without a tribe. Yeah, do you know what? I think I can beat you there, Cody. You're a wordsmith, but I always love the idea of the head of the table, but there's no one else at the table. It's the head of an empty table. But yeah, a chief without a tribe works just as well. I would have added the thing about the empty table, though, Cody. I really would have. I'm quite proud of that. But anyway, although it's obvious, isn't it? Really, he's not a lot to be proud of. So Matt, I've got to do the grades and all that now. I think there's some good. I think I'm going to give this a 9 out of 10. I think there's some good stuff on this show. Maybe I'm being a bit generous. I don't know, but I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. Moment of the night was obviously that finish. My God, performer of the night. I'm giving it to Jey Uso straight away. match of the night. I think we should probably do that. What? I can't remember what matches are on there. Yeah, I don't know actually. What was the last one we had a vote for? The Santos Escobar one. I'm going to give it to maybe IYO SKY just because she's money. And I've forgotten all the matches because I'm too tired. The Wild Samoans are the real chiefs of their tribe. Are they like in real life? Do they even have that these days? Isn't Samoa a republic in its own right? But I know what you mean. They have multiple families and stuff, and they take that stuff quite seriously. But I do think it's a big gimmick in many ways. I think a lot of Samoans are just like we are, from what I hear. Young Rock, the series Young Rock gives you a really good insight into the Anoa'i family and what they were all about and what wrestling means to them as well. It's a great series. It's probably not completely accurate, but it's a good little interpretation of what wrestling was back in the territories. And it's been made with the Rock's approval too, and I imagine other people are involved, so it is cool. Yeah, IYO SKY, Jey Uso, hard to argue with that. Hard to argue. Right then, guys, I am flagging, so I'm gonna wish you all good night, and yeah, the guys will be back tomorrow for Collision. I don't know what the plan is going forward for Collision. If it's going to be something we're doing every week, or who's going to do it, or whatever, it won't be me. But it'll be hard for me to do if I'm doing, SmackDown. Really, I can't stay up that late 2 nights in a row every week. I just couldn't do it. But we will be back tomorrow, and who knows where we'll go from there. So, yeah, guys, thank you for joining me. Thank you for keeping me company. I do appreciate it. Hope you join the guys tomorrow. I know I should be doing some plugs and some other things, but I am falling asleep and flagging. So night, Daniel. Thank you very much for coming on. My God, what a finish! What a finish to the show that was. That was nuts. I always pop the bloodline stuff when something big happens. It never fails to get me. Yeah, I'll see you soon, guys. Let's see who can play us out. I don't like to putting the AEW guys on SmackDown because it's a different promotion, innit? No disrespect to them. Let's have the classic. You know what? Let's have Shotzi because she doesn't get enough flowers. All right, guys. See you soon.
Hello, this is Shotzi Blackheart, and welcome to Gimme a Whole Yeah! I hope everyone checking this out in Yorkshire and beyond is having a great day.